Freedom is doing what I want to do. And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Hello. How you doing, Deontay?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm doing good. I hope everybody's enjoying their Sunday.
Yeah, man. I'm back in New York after coming from Seattle, Washington. Don't know how I feel about that, but I had a good time. Um, what are we discussing today? The title of this live stream is called "What's the Cost of Being a Freedom Absolutist?" At what point does individual freedom become counterproductive for a functioning society? Is freedom or compromise the glue that holds society together? And this topic was inspired by a conversation that I had with Deontay. So since this is really your topic, I want you to dive into it.
Oh,
And
sure. So, free speech absolutist, or free speech rather, is the belief that anyone should have a free speech in a society to where they feel that they can voice any complaints or ideas or anything they feel is useful to society. Like basically, it's the freedom of expression. So, be it something you wear, something you think, something you say, a philosophy you may have, you believe that everybody should have the right to express their views. So, when you are a free speech absolutist, which basically means that you believe in free speech to the T, to the point where anyone can say whatever they want, wear whatever they want, think whatever they want, dress however they like, that means there is no cut cards for the speech, for the level of expression for you.
let me just make a correction. It's not
Yeah,
free speech absolutist, it's freedom
yeah,
absolutist. That's free speech and everything that falls under freedom.
right.
Just wanted to add
So
that in. Go ahead.
right. So that being said, if that's how you truly feel, then that means you are down with anybody expressing themselves however they want. That means you're okay with somebody walking around with a swastika on their shirt. That means you're okay with somebody walking around with Confederate flags on their shirt. Somebody walking around with, I hate, N words all over their shirt. Anything they want, that means you're okay with that. That's a free speech absolutist. That's free. That's basically a freedom absolutist. So, with that being established, I guess the question for today is, where do you draw the lines as saying, okay, freedom is okay, but there should be some limitations on this or that? Because now keep in mind, I am, I guess, what you would call a free speech or freedom. What did I just say? Throwing a blank over.
Freedom absolutist.
A freedom absolutist, or at least I think that I am. But even in that, it's like, okay, do I have the right to walk? Like, should I be going around saying, wearing clothing or symbols or anything that says "F another race of people"? Should anyone else have, those people kind of privilege to voice things like that in our in open society? I think that's the question. Same.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, your voice went out.
Did I get the question off?
Ask it again because I didn't really hear.
Oh, okay. So what I'm saying, I guess the question I have is, should anyone have the right to to voice ideas or wear clothing that are overwhelmingly offensive in nature, be they racist, misogynist, anything like that, in a society that is supposed to, champion free speech or freedom. Like, where do we draw the limitations? Like, where do we put laws to protect ourselves from ourselves? I do think we need that.
Well, since we don't have
Yeah.
many people available to respond, what is your thoughts on that?
Like I said, I do think that we need laws to protect ourselves from ourselves. But be that as it may, it's like, okay, where do you put the lines? You know, like you don't want to censor people for their opinions, but where do you start saying, okay, maybe we shouldn't have shirts that has swastikas on them, or say, racist, or, just anti-Semitic, anything really. Like again, it's such a tricky conversation to have because it's like, okay, well, if you support free speech or freedom, and these people have these types of things on, well, if you support free speech or freedom, then you're basically saying it's okay for you have to protect that same kind of right for the people you disagree with. So they should have the right to wear those clothing,
Yeah, but
or at least
also
that's how. Oh, go ahead.
on the flip side, the person's reaction to that shirt is freedom too.
Right.
So just like you
So,
have the freedom to wear it, you can't cry like a little bitch when somebody reacts to what you're wearing. You know what I'm saying?
oh, I agree.
That makes sense. But I think there's levels to the discussion. Like when it comes to free speech, since it's just words, it's going to be very hard to censor that. You know what I mean? Like
I agree completely.
unless you get really heavy handed. Now, when it comes to actions, are what made me one of the things that I thought about was the porn industry,
Oh yeah.
and I've changed my position on how I feel about that over the years because initially I wasn't really thinking about it. I was kind of agnostic to it, and then I kind of accepted it. But now I'm at the point where I feel like it's counterproductive to society. Like, and I guess since all of the data has come in, it has shown that it's not really helpful for men. It doesn't really help them in interpersonal relationships with women. Um, Also, in order to have a porn industry, you have to have workers.
Right. It's
And
contingent on having bodies.
right. So my thing is, do we want to have intergenerational hoes as women in our society, where they're just there to serve just carnal needs, and they don't really have any
Value.
educational or valuable input to society other than tits and ass? Is that the type of society that we want? Is that the type of women that we want to produce in our society? And you start thinking about it, it's like, is it worth it? Like, yeah, you have the freedom in America to do it, but is it worth it? Has it worked out for America? Has OnlyFans helped America? You know
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying?
helped. Yeah,
Has it helped society?
it's helped reduce our birth rates. That's what it's helped do.
And it's basically, you know, train women into thinking that the only thing they have to offer to society or in general is just tits and ass.
Yeah, and it's decline. It's affecting the birth rates. It's affecting the marriage rates. It's affecting society as a whole because now, like you just pointed out, every woman, instead of them trying to go to school and learn how to be a doctor or a teacher or something useful, a lot of these women are going on just saying, "Fuck it, I don't want to work. I'll just go to OnlyFans."
Yeah, because it's easy to do.
Yeah.
It's easy money. The OnlyFans reminds me of the police force. You know why?
Also,
Because just like the police force, they have contempt for the people that they serve. The police
Oh
have
yeah,
contempt for citizens, and the OnlyFans models have contempt for men. But yet, both exist because the other of the people that they find contemptible. If there were no men, there'd be no OnlyFans models. They wouldn't be able to make any money. So they make
right.
money off of men, but have no respect for the men. It's like, I'm going to provide you a service as an OnlyFans model, but oh my God, you're a creep and disgusting because you're subscribed to my OnlyFans channel. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that yeah, you're an incel, but I'm gonna continue to make content for you.
Hmm.
It's very crazy how that works. It's like when you don't want him to mess with you, he an incel, but when you need to pay your electric bill, you want to put tits and ass in his face.
Yeah,
Like what?
you walking down the street with the hot dog stand and then getting offended when someone asks you for a frank.
Imagine that.
But I
It's just
think that these conversations are something that we have to talk about when it comes to how we want our society to be. Because I do
facts.
know that a lot of people in the conscious community are very heavy-handed when it comes to this stuff, and I don't like that. Like very totalitarianism and authoritarianism, you know, like they really want to control people.
Yeah, and that's actually gonna push them, and that's actually gonna push them forward towards the OnlyFans accounts and not away from it.
Right.
You're supposed to not I mean you're supposed to educate them better on what this kind of stuff is, but also at the same time letting them know that they are better than that, and they're more that our women are more than just tits and ass, and you can be whatever you want, and there's a system for it.
Yeah, education is the key. I think that giving people absolute freedom and they have no education is a recipe for disaster. You get basically the United States of America. That's what you get.
Yeah,
Like I
no
think
doubt.
that when you educate your citizens, and I'm talking about all of your citizens, not special education just for a select few, but if you educate your populace and they go
Right,
through that educational system and it gets um, basically infiltrated into the culture where
right.
your educational norms will become a cultural thing, then we can talk about freedom because then you have people that have more responsibility. They have some understanding of what freedom is. They have an understanding of how society works and how to work together with other people. But when you just take a fucking clown and say, hey, you're free to do whatever you want to do, you get what you got in the American society. I won't mention any names, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just it's like yeah, like with a certain someone else, it's unchecked power. You got all this unlimited resource and you don't know what to do with it. Hence the mistakes.
Peace,
So
Kevin. Peace, underrated. Underrated says the same thing you said. It's tough to define where the line is drawn with freedom of absolute.
yeah, it really is.
He says, I agree. When people are educated, freedom of absolute would be more organized because they understand how freedom is a privilege as well. Yeah, you can't see. This is the thing about, and I'll use America as an example because it's the prime example. There's a hypocrisy to the people who run America. They preach education and we want this and that, but what they really want is people to be uneducated because they benefit from it. It's like what Trump said one time, I love the poorly educated. And
Yeah, he said that openly. He said that
yeah,
openly. Open
yeah,
mic.
because they think it's all jokes and giggles.
Yeah.
But the reality is the more uneducated you are, the more the people in power can get away with.
Oh,
And
no
then
doubt.
what it does too, when you're uneducated, the people who think that they're educated usually end up with conspiracy brain, where everything is about some grand plot and they are out to get you.
Yeah, and
That's
they
the
are,
other. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and that ends up being indirectly a tool for the establishment to use to basically blindside you from the shit that they're actually doing, which is happening right in front of you.
Yeah.
So,
And I think more so than education too is ethics,
oh
because
yeah,
the problem with coming up with rules of governing systems is you have to rely on the people who represent you to actually do that.
right,
That's the problem. That's been the problem since the beginning of time. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's been systems that have lasted long, but they've eventually crumbled. It's like there's been no system that has just last forever
right,
because of human beings and their nature. We're
right.
really self-serving, and at the end of the day, we pick ourselves over the whole of the collective. There are examples of people who don't do that, but they're usually martyrs. We usually kill them.
Oh yeah,
you know, Anybody that's like for the benefit of everybody or the benefit of the whole, usually we get rid of those type of people. So it's kind of
right.
hypocritical for us to expect our system to be anything other than just contradictory and counterproductive.
Yeah, I agree
When you
completely.
when you're an enemy of the truth or enemy of truth tellers or you kill truth tellers, then what does that say? You want
That's
comfortable lies.
right. You comfortable in the system.
Yeah. And a person who wants comfortable lives is it can't really be in a high moral ground to complain about, oh, you lied. Well,
You
yeah,
like the line, you sat by with the line. So guess what?
yeah, yeah, I adapted to your bullshit. You don't want the truth. You want people to tell you comfortable lies. You want people to kiss your ass.
You
And
want
then you
people to
get
make
mad. Then you get mad when you find, you know what? I had an example of this. Um, People don't want anything real. What they want is the movies. You know how the movies are. When you go to the movies, you know that it's actors, you know there's a script, you know there's a production team. But when you go to the movies, you want to know that what you're looking at is real.
you want to have your disbelief suspended, like wrestling.
Right. Exactly. It's like when you go to the movies, you don't want to see a microphone over the actor's head
No, no, no.
because it takes you out of the experience. And that's just how people do with relationships. They don't care about you lying. They just want to make sure that you don't let them know that the lie is obvious. They can know that you're lying, but don't ever break that spell and inject some truth. It's like the
Don't.
microphone over the
Hey,
actor's head.
yeah, yeah, don't break kayfabe. But honestly, the American people, I had a phrase about a couple months ago that I heard. The American people are like the child of a mob boss. They don't care about how they get their big homes and their maids and butlers and all this nice shit. They don't care how they get it. They know that their father does some kind of work, but they don't really care what it is. They don't want to know. But the moment somebody comes up and just randomly throws a fucking Molotov cocktail to their home and shoots up their house, they're wondering what the fuck happened.
Right.
That's how the American people are. They are the child. They are the children of mob bosses.
Hmm.
The government is doing nefarious shit. Like they don't care to know what's going on. All they care about is them being comfortable. But the moment something happens, be it a mass shooting, uh, um, a terrorist attack, or anything sudden that disturbs their little, how do you say, their inner peace? I guess it is.
Their sensibilities.
Yeah, their sensibilities. It's
Mm.
who, what, when, how. How? Like, why do they hate us? So I don't know. Maybe it's because your country keeps putting fucking sanctions on everybody for no reason. Maybe because they keep cooping their governments and destroying their countries, and it's invading their countries and stealing their resources.
Hmm. You
I don't know.
think
Maybe it's that.
it could be?
It could be. I could be wrong though.
Yeah. So could I. Who knows? We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, just a conversation.
But is there anyone that wants to come in?
Yeah,
Anyone wants to have a conversation? Ask some questions?
yeah, because we might end this thing early because we pretty much killed it.
Let's see. Anybody?
I think Vic might be on later. I'm not sure.
Kevin, you want to come in? Underrated? Ronan? Anybody? I'll put the link in the chat. Hold on. Yeah, I think that we don't tend to have these conversations about how we want to run a society because most of us don't even believe that we should have a society. You know
Yeah.
why? Because the white man got this.
Oh Lord.
Why should we be concerned about running anything when he's more than capable of doing it for us? When we feel so comfortable living under his rules and his reign.
Yeah. Like what the ADOS guy was saying on that other live stream on the other channel. I got a toilet in my house. I can go out and
Ooh.
buy yeah, ooh, I can go out and
Look
buy
at
me
look at
some
what
ice.
the white man made it that I could sit down and shit in my house.
While I got cockroaches and rat traps down on the floor. Hey, but I can go out and buy me some Jordans that somebody's gonna rob me for a gunpoint after I get them. Oh boy. All this stuff, all these little modern conveniences sound good until you realize that your people don't control any of the manufacturing. They don't control any of the infrastructure that designs or produces any of these goods. And then the moment it's taken away from your people are going to be up shit creek without a paddle. That's what that is. I it's very weird. Like, yeah, let's all brag that we're comfortable living under the supremacy of another race, that our future lies in the hands of another race of people.
Yeah, sorry about that. I actually disconnected my mic. I was like, what the hell is going on?
I wonder what you went to. I said you must have had a phone call.
Nah. It was the mic got disconnected and it knocked me out. Yeah. Uh, Double O, peace. It says ADOS destroying relationship with foreign blacks while Chinese doing business in Africa. Yeah, ADOS. Can you think of anything more irrelevant than ADOS and FBA? Like, what are they doing?
Invading Pan Africanist spaces and showing them what happens when, I guess, when you say the bottom tier of black people, the Negroes that me and you have made fun of for years for the baby mama drama and all this other stuff, when they get together collectively, that's what happens.
The only time I seem to hear about them is when there's some actor or celebrity or whatever gets into trouble or gets involved in some salacious nonsense. Then all of a sudden they come out in droves for that. But I never hear them talking about STEM. You notice? I never hear them talking about infrastructure. I never hear them talking about real, not economics, but economies. You know?
Yeah, well, that's what we call cafe consciousness. Same thing. It's like
Oh,
they're Yeah, it's like they don't have any intention to build or really do anything with this kind of info. They just want to talk about it because they think it makes them sound smart. That's what that
mm,
is. Like it's like what I've been hearing when people give them spaces. It's the same things. Well, we could talk about economies and how we do trade, this and that. We can eh, we can discuss, like I said, them owning or somebody, or there's a black person that's a CEO somewhere in a company they do not own, that where they don't own any of the manufacturing, any of that stuff is okay. But when it comes to actual power, these people know nothing about it. They don't know what a country is. They don't know what a country is. They don't know what government means. They don't know how to
yeah,
govern.
yeah. Because if they knew that, they would know that countries have governments. Governments create policy, and the nation has, an economy. But they don't think in terms of nationhood. They only think in terms of individualism. So the only thing they can understand is economics. They constantly talk about
Cut the
black
shit.
economics that have no clue what an economy is.
Cut the shit, brother. Cut the shit.
It should be called cut the shit. Oh wait, we got somebody. I don't know who this is. La Tether. Is that Mike? That has
Euh,
to be Mike.
non, je m'appelle le Tether.
Hmm. Okay. Got my eye on you. What's
Yeah.
up?
Bonjour, je m'appelle le Tether. Je t'entendais, tu parlais de le ethos et le FBI. So, je voulais parler sur le live de YouTube de le FBA parce que je le Tether.
I understood that part, even though it was more.
Oh, it's an honor to have you.
Yeah. Le honneur, c'est moi. C'est moi. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the topic?
Hold on a second. You can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think you were talking about like absolute free speech, right?
Absolute freedom.
Yeah. There has to be some kind of like a legal philosophy where you have like a limit how how much freedom affects other people,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's to the point where it affects other society as a whole, I think. Because if enough people do something that causes like a collective harm, then it has to be taken into account, I think.
Would you classify pornography as that? Do you think
Yeah,
it's productive to have a porn industry in your country?
yeah, I would count it as that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I used to feel differently, but I guess after thinking about it and seeing the results of the effects of it, it's intergenerational hoes. That's one where you just got a series of women who just that's their role is just to be a hoe in society. I don't think that's productive. And also, I think I looked at it from the female perspective, but it ain't no better for the males.
Yeah.
You know, like how is that helping? You just creating like baby mamas? I just don't think that it's. I don't think that there's been enough evidence to support that it's something that's actually helpful for society. That's my point. I wouldn't cry
Yeah.
if they got rid of it. If they would have banned porn, I would not cry one bit.
No.
The only people that would be crying is the OnlyFans models and the sex workers.
I would think like they'll find a way eventually. I mean, that's how this thing came about, because there's like it was an opportunity to communicate with people, so that avenue was available and they took it. So there's like some other way that emerges where like people connect, because people are lonely, so eventually it's gonna something like or similar to that might happen, but it might be like a more like on a one-on-one interaction if need be.
Well,
But
let
then
me
again, that has to be something where like you have like you would need some kind of policy to like either regulate that or somehow to stave that off from being like predominant and affecting the whole society.
Well, let me clarify just a little bit, because I think as far as America goes, it's too late, or any place else is really too late for any change. But I think in our society, that's what I'm thinking about. Like, if we're going to have our own society and create policy and have our own government and rule, have socioeconomic and political control over that piece of territory, what type of society do we want to have?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think this conversation is coming from on my end.
Yeah.
Like, in our society, I don't want to have a porn industry. I think that's counterproductive. We need to be heavily invested into education. In fact, I believe our people should be the most educated people on the planet.
Couldn't agree more.
I don't see how that's going to hurt our society by having our women be educated, our men be educated, and pursuing things that make our society better. I think that that's much better than a hot rag and baby oil. I don't see how a hot rag and baby oil is helping society. Maybe helping the individual because they're doing what they want to do, but it's not having a positive influence on society. Did you? Oh, I saw that. Is it Netflix? I think it was Netflix. The adolescent movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that, and that was a very interesting
Is that
experience.
the show or movie about the red pill?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I struggle to call it red pill. There's some certain things in there that deal with that, like the
Mm,
incel thing.
mm,
But what I found interesting was the father in the he said that he was abused by his father, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
And he swore that he would never abuse his children or abuse his family or anything like that. And he never did. He never put a hand on them. But he would always have this level of violence and hostility with them, that they were just scared of him.
Verbal abuse.
Right.
Well,
They were just afraid of him. So even though he never put a hand on them, he still carried forth that energy that his father gave to him.
right.
And unfortunately, that got passed on to his son, who was able to express the violence. So it was really interesting how they did that.
That tends to happen like that multi-generationally, right? So the grandparents will tell you to go outside and cut the switch and choose which
Hmm.
switch you want to use on you.
Yeah.
The next generation will be a belt. The next generation will use a belt, but sparingly. The next generation will like use verbal abuse. Next generation is gonna like we seen here. It's like they'll they overcompensate, and it becomes like a liberal abuse, which is really insidious.
Yeah,
What's
it's
a
like
liberal abuse?
Like when they like overly try to like make you feel
a-
like a special snowflake, not getting you ready for the world.
authoritarian.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
like
they're what?
authoritarian. It's like in Star Wars, the New Republic.
Hmm.
Oh, like they're just really oppressive.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's for
But
your
they
own
mean
good.
well. Yeah, it's for your own good. They mean well. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay.
I'm going to take away your rights, but it's for your own good. So that's why this conversation is I think important, because it's all about finding the balance. You don't want to be authoritarian and take away people's rights and be too controlling, but at the same time, you don't want to relinquish, um, have everybody be to their own vices, because then you don't have any order.
Yeah.
So how do you play it? You know what I'm saying? And also another thing I think is that people need to stop looking for utopia and stop looking for perfection. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yeah.
It's not about a perfect society. It's about a functional society. Where I think a functional society is when you have good interpersonal relationships for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be fighting. There's always going to be that, to some degree or another. The thing is, you're trying to get along with each other and live with each other as good as possible.
Yeah, I agree completely. But I understand if you're saying we need laws to protect ourselves from ourselves, but where do we go to fight laws? That's the question I have.
Wait, who's gonna what? The background was drowning you out. What do you say?
I said, yes, I agree we need laws to protect ourselves from ourselves, but there's always that gray zone. Like, where do you go to put that at?
Oh, it's up to us. We have to have these conversations. Have people involved in the conversations, and then we have to determine. Because I believe, like, once you get the education down and you get people educated, then that education should permeate through the culture. It's like a process. You have to teach people um, what's right and what's wrong through education, and then that education it has to permeate through the culture where it becomes a part of the culture. And then once you have that, I think you can have more effective freedom throughout society. But if you give freedom to a bunch of idiots, they're going to go out on the sidewalk and shit on the sidewalk and call it freedom.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have people going to restaurants and just burping and farting at the table, and they're like, "Oh, I'm keeping it real."
Or you get nuisance streamers.
Yeah. Another thing that made us come up with this topic is this idiot Vitali, who's what he got sentenced to 28 years. What country was that in? Was that in Thailand? No,
I think it was
Singapore.
no Philippines. I think.
It was the Philippines.
Yeah, it was the Philippines.
Okay, I know it was one of
Uh,
them.
yeah, Singapore. I think they would have been more harsh because that little like he was still clowning around while they were like sentencing him.
Harsher than 28 years.
Yeah, like
Wait.
you.
Yes, for I'm sorry.
Yeah, Singapore. If they catch you like spitting out gum on the street, they'll charge you.
Wow.
They don't play like
I
that.
thought they get lashes.
Wow. Philippines. Yeah, this nigga got
Yeah,
28 years. So his pranking career is over.
Wait,
yeah.
what did he do exactly? I'm sorry, I dipped out for a second.
Disrespected the culture.
How?
Just
He's just
doing a
being a
whole lot of
menace,
stupid shit. Going through the streets, fucking with people and doing all
s-
kinds of crazy shit.
stealing police cars and
Oh,
motorcycles,
yeah, you can't.
vandalizing property stuff. Yeah,
Defacing statues and all kinds of crazy shit. And they said, you know what? 28 years. What's that other? Where's the other guy? Johnny Somali. Where's he at?
He's
Japan.
dead.
Japan?
Yeah,
What do
I
you
think
mean
he's
he's
yeah.
dead?
I thought something happened to one of these comedians. I forget who it was, but
No, he ain't no comedian. He's a fucking
a
what do you
troll.
call those guys?
They're terrorists. Like
A sh-
it's that it has to
streamer?
be that. Yeah, they call them nuisance streamers, but if you just call them nuisance streamers, that means they think it's like it's not an issue. But they're like social terrorists. They just come in like just to antagonize and fuck with people for views.
Underrated says for our nation, I think freedom of absolute comes with unwritten rules that subconsciously is governed by people after it's established by the government. Um, Imagine passport bros traveling to an organized, educated, well-oiled Liberia. They may have the freedom to date in pursuit of women, but best believe if they come with disrespect or trouble, consequences would come from different angles to where that passport understands his freedom, but now sees where the line is drawn, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it does. It does make sense.
It does.
Oh, Johnny Somali is in Korea.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
what Double O says. And Vic says people get caned in Singapore. Yo, Vic, can you
Yeah,
come on?
they get lashes in Singapore. They getting their ass whooped over there. They Singapore ain't playing.
Get caned. I love to hear screaming and hollering from streamers. I love that. That is like music to my ear. Oh shit! Ah! Ah!
You saw the disdain the WWE locker room had for I Show Speed. They're like, "Yo,
Oh yeah.
Braun, he wants to be in the show. Please
Hmm.
spear the fuck out of him."
Oh yeah. Yeah. He caught the spear from hell.
Yeah, there was a lot of venom in that spear.
Oh. Yeah. I bet you Vitaly is doing a lot of screaming and hollering right now. Him and
Oh
Johnny
yeah,
Somali.
yeah.
Oh
Like
shit! Ah!
he has no access to steroids, so he can't really down cycle or whatever he needs to do.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's Vic. What's up, brother?
What's up,
Peace.
man? What's going on?
Do you like screaming and hollering from streamers as much as I do? I like the sound of that cane, boy. Whoosh! Oh shit! Ah!
They
What
only
the
needed
fuck?
they only needed one time too. They don't need repeated canings.
Whoosh!
They just needed that one time.
Oh, they give him one? Just one?
No, I'm saying it's just I've never seen repeat offenders. Never heard of them at least. No, they get
Oh,
hit
okay.
like maybe 4 or 5 times.
Ooh. Okay.
And they
But
probably got
a
that.
trained stick fighter.
Mm,
Mm.
they probably got that
Gotcha.
cat of nine tails from the British Empire,
Steve Black.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
looking like the Passion of the Christ.
Oh shit! What the fuck?
Damn.
But yeah, there's someone that knows what he's doing to use to do the caning. I never heard of repeat offenders though. Only one time.
00 says that Korean prison is a hotel compared to the ones in the Philippines. I can imagine. What about the ones in Singapore? Or how about the
I can.
ones in what is it, El Salvador?
That one's
It's
harsh.
it's not cool, man. Not cool to be a criminal
Nah.
unless you're doing it big. Then it's cool.
Yeah. Unless
You
you're
gotta be
doing
doing
Mangione style killings.
Yeah, you gotta be doing it on a big level. If you're gonna do crime, go all the way. Don't be caught at the bottom. I love it how the mob looks down on street criminals.
Yeah, there ain't no such thing for as a halfway crook. Go away with this shit, man. Go
They look
away.
down. If they look down on if you rob somebody and steal their wallet or their purse, they look down on them.
But if you rob a bank, you're a hero.
Oh yeah, if you take billions, you the man. But yeah, this is a conversation that needs to be had, and I don't know the answer. I can give my opinions on things, but I don't know the answer to that. I think it's a collective issue, and I think that there's enough data to support or to debunk certain things at this point. You know, like they say, overconsumption of porn leads to ED because
Yeah,
guys are so used to that. What do they call it? That dopamine fix
yeah.
that when they get a woman, they're not as satisfied as they can satisfy themselves. That's a problem for society, I would think.
Look at Japan with the what do they call it? The herbivore men.
The what?
They call it the herbivore men who don't really engage in like society. All they do is work. If they're working,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Sounds like the average American right now.
yeah,
They
Good
don't even
God.
go out after work and get drunk, take drugs. I think that's the difference between them and the American worker. Like after the shift is over, they getting high.
Oh yeah, or some of them getting high during the shift or
Yeah,
drunk.
yeah, they're engaging on all types of mood altering stimuli, is what I'll call it.
yeah.
But these are the type of conversations that I like. I like for us to engage in stuff, and because it's like you're planning for society. You know,
Yeah, you laying the groundwork for what's going to be the norms.
right?
So
You're preparing, and I think that's always good. There's going to be disagreements. Like I remember,
yeah,
one of the disagreements that I had with BAIO member at one point was he wanted to ban marijuana, but yet he didn't want to ban alcohol. And
Huh?
I'm like, well, there's more statistics say that alcohol is worse for you than marijuana. So if you want to ban
Yeah.
yeah,
marijuana, why don't you want to ban um, alcohol?
alcohol. And
And it
I've
all
never heard.
comes down. It all comes down to um, personal choice. Like he personally doesn't like marijuana. So you see how tricky that gets.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You want to ban the shit you don't like and then keep the shit that you like, even though it's hypocritical.
Yeah.
Let's bring in our brother Jabari.
Yeah. Like,
Peace.
I've never heard of anybody getting high on marijuana, coming home and beating their wives and raping their daughters. I've heard different with alcohol. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I asked a cop one time outside. We was in the village, me and my cousin, and I asked the cop. I said, "How is it that I can go into a store and legally buy alcohol, but then get arrested for drinking it outside the store?"
Oh boy.
And he said he gave an honest answer. He says, "Hey, I don't know. That's just what the rules are." I'm like, but you do see how hypocritical that is. So you want to make money off of us buying alcohol and then arrest us when we drink it. So you want to make money coming and going, basically.
That's what they want.
But that's capitalism for you, and that's why you can't really base your society off of capitalism. You know, capitalism breeds what we're talking about, that hyper individualism, and as long as you make money from it, they don't care about the social, environmental, collective degradation that comes with it. So, like with alcohol, we all know about prohibition, right? You know, prohibition, they were like, oh, we're going to ban alcohol because it's just moral, this and that, and the third. And, that they were able to pass the 18th Amendment, but it got repealed because people started going underground with it, right? It's like what you want to do is just regulate it. You're not going to
Right.
ban these things. The best thing you can do is regulate them.
Yeah. Like we should regulate capitalism. Like there should be a cap on the amount of money that you can make. How about that? I'm down with that.
Agreed.
You know, no, fuck this unlimited earning power where you can just make money endlessly forever. I don't want people are bragging that we might have a trillionaire, the world's first trillionaire. Who the hell
Is that?
wants that?
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Who the
A
hell wants that?
trillionaire, a trillionaire, if we want to put it into perspective, a trillionaire is a million millionaires.
Right, right. A million millionaires. Are you
Yeah.
serious? Are you serious? Nah.
Not only should there be a cap on the amount of money that you make, but there should be a percentage, a minimum percentage that workers have to get of excess profit. So if you make record profits, there is a minimum percentage you have to give them. You're not going to be taking in privatizing the gains and socializing the losses. No, 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 no. You make excess profit, we get a percentage of that. We're getting a percentage of that.
Right. That should be baked into the cake of our society.
Yeah.
There's certain things that we should not have to you know, people always talk about taxes. Let me ask everybody on this phone.
Hmm.
If you had to pay higher taxes, but your health care was covered, your education was free, that was covered, would you have a problem?
No,
No, I.
no.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the taxes is the problem. The problem is I don't want my taxes going to Iron Dome, but I don't have no control over that. I don't want my taxes funding, the war in Ukraine. You can
Right.
afford that, but you can't afford to do anything that helps working people, which would be eliminating this student debt. Because first of all, the education should be you shouldn't be paying for education to begin with.
No, we shouldn't.
It makes no
Especially
sense.
in the richest nation on earth.
That would be like parents paying their kids to go to school. Makes no sense.
Makes zero sense.
or now there's this new phenomenon where Americans are a phenomenon that's gaining strength. I wouldn't say, but gaining more prominence is Americans buying groceries, but they have to pay it later, like basically loaning groceries.
Yeah, yeah. The profit motive, I think the most insidious is the profit modem, the profit mode, I should say, in healthcare. That is so insidious. How you supposed to have how many teeth in your mouth? 32? Something like that?
Hmm.
How much does each tooth cost? You know who determines that?
Private insurance.
The market. Isn't that crazy? The market determines how much each tooth costs. And the market says, well, each tooth costs about $2,500. Really? And we go for that? Even from, and I'm talking about from the richest to the poorest, their teeth in their mouth all cost the same. Or does the teeth change according to whatever your status is, your socioeconomic status? Then each tooth is 5,000.
Oh God.
This stuff is absolutely insane.
There's a lot of rent seeking going on.
or or the fact that we live in the healthcare system where it's not doctors that determine the urgency or determine what is paid for. It's what the health insurance deems should be paid for. Oh,
Right.
we don't think this is important, so we're not going to cover it. And the doctor is telling you, going on the phone with you for hours, he needs this. He needs this MRI. He needs this cover, bro. He needs this x-ray. He needs this surgery. And the health is like, well, we don't think he needs it. It's like capitalism has antagonized and discarded experts. It thrives on just profit and anti-intellectualism.
And think about that, Jabari. When a patient walks into the hospital or the doctor's office, and the doctor is incentivized to give them either medication that they don't need or surgeries that they don't need, is that a good thing?
I don't
No,
think it is.
no,
Like
you messing with people's lives.
you're incentive. You have more incentive to get a person on a operating table, whether they need it or not, because it makes more money. A lot of
It's
times
psychotic.
when you go to the doctor in America, they look at your insurance, see what your insurance covers, and max it out. That's what they do. I mean, that is insane to me. And that gives you an example of how the people really have or pick and choose the government that they want.
Oh, here's my Fortnite, bro.
Insurance uses the communist model. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's really ridiculous. That's why we have to see how these things are not working and then make sure that we don't model our society after these failed models that America has provided. It doesn't mean that every model that they've provided is a failure, because I think um, Social Security is a good policy. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
mind
just
that.
I think like profit for motive though. That is like insidious. That's like as bad as it can get. And most Americans are not really doing anything about this either. I think they just get used to it.
Yeah, because they have representatives that make them get used to it. Who talk a good game, and then when it comes time for the rubber to hit the road, punk out.
Like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. He had an opportunity to go against Joe Biden and go against these corporate Democrats. And instead, he decided, well, if you can't beat them, join them. So when I hear you talking now, like, why am I supposed to pay attention to you? Like, oh, Bernie's getting big rallies. So what? He was getting them before.
He didn't take advantage of it. He had a chance to start a brand new political party that probably would have been something special, but no.
No. So why should I listen now to these theatrics that these senators and congressmen put on television for CNN? It's just pure theatrics. They're behaving like fucking actors when you see them because they know the camera is on them. I thought that the purpose of people even having a government was that the government would take care of the people.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was too. At least it was until Ronald Reagan became president. Now it's fuck the government. I'm gonna get in the government so I can get out, so I can turn people against the government. It's like, what the fuck? Really?
And I think it gives fuel, and that's what gives the rise to people who become anarchists.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with the government at all. So
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But I'm glad we had this conversation. I mean, we didn't solve anything, but at least we got the conversation started. So maybe people who are more brighter than us can solve this thing. But it's been an hour. It's been an hour. I think we've covered it as much as we can. And I look forward to seeing you guys and talking with you in the lounge. You're going to be on tonight.
Definitely.
What time should we start? Around 8?
Yeah, I'm gonna get in there early because I ain't got shit else to do.
Okay, that's cool.
Because I gotta be up somewhat early Monday, so I'm gonna get in there early and spend more time with y'all.
Peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to everybody who's listening, and peace to the people that's in the queue.
Yeah.
Have a good rest of your day.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace.